All right, guys, welcome to lesson 14 of Unit 5. We're doing pretty much the same thing, cylinder volume, pretty much, I think maybe some area too. So activity 1 says, what is the possible volume for this cylinder if the diameter is 8 centimeters? Explain your reasoning. So remember from yesterday, the formula for volume is the area of a circle times the height. In this case, we don't know the height, so that's kind of something that might make it a little confusing. But we know the diameter is 8, which means the radius from here to here would be 4, because that's half of 8. So we could say, and then this area is just pi r squared. So pi 4 squared times height. So pi times 16 times height. In this case, because they're saying possible volume, I would say you just make up a height. So let's make it easy. Let's say height equals 1. Then it's just pi times 16 times 1, which is 16 pi. You could have made up something else if you choose to, and that would also work. Okay, so activity 2 wants to know dimensions of some more cylinders. So number 1 says, and then they give you the formula here in case you've forgotten. The volume of this cylinder with radius 5 units is 50 pi cubic units. This statement is true. And then it says, what does the height of this cylinder have to be? So this is just like algebra stuff. You're like solving for the unknown. In this case, the unknown is h. This is what we're solving for. So we can go like 50 pi equals 25 times pi times h. So right away, divide by, because 5 squared is 25, so divide by your 25 pi, divide by 25 pi, and then if you just kind of ignore the pi symbol, like don't worry about it, 25 goes into 52 times, right? So h equals 2. Hope that kind of made sense. Okay. Next is the volume of this cylinder with height 4 units is 36 pi cubic units. That's the volume, sorry. The height is 4. This statement is true. Then they give you the formula. This time we're solving for the radius. So I'm going to kind of set it up and have you guys finish it. So 36 pi equals r squared pi 4. So if I divide this by pi 4, it doesn't matter that the pi is in front of the 4. It's the same thing. So that cancels out. Then you've got 4 goes into 36. How many times? That's 9. I mean, you can say the pi's cancel out. Equals r squared. Actually, we haven't done this for a while, so let's just go through the whole thing. So if this is squared and you want to get r on its own, the only way to do it is to do the reverse operation. The reverse of squaring is to find the square root. Let me use like a bright color. So I'm going to square root both sides. Remember, opposite operation, opposite operation. So instead of doubling a number, you're pulling out what the single value is before it's doubled or multiplied by itself. So the square root of any letter squared is just one of the letters. So r equals, and then what times what is 9? 3 times 3 is 9. So your radius is 3. I think we just answered that part. Okay. What's next? Big, huge table for the third and last activity. Each row of the table has information about a particular cylinder. Complete the table with the missing dimensions. So Using the same formula, volume equals pi r squared times height. You're going to just plug in what they give you to find the unknown, if that kind of makes sense. So if the radius is 3, that means that I'm going to double 3 to get the diameter. 3 plus 3 is 6. So my diameter is 6. Remember, diameter is all the way across. Maybe I'll keep colors the same. So this is diameter, radius, is this. Okay, so area of the base, that's just pi r squared. It's this part. This part of the equation is area. So that would, if we're leaving it with pi, that would just be pi times 3 squared. So 9 pi. And I think leaving it with pi is fine with me, so. Okay, the last thing is the volume of the whole thing. So volume is the height, which they give us, which is 5. So I'm just going to multiply 5 by the area, I guess. So you're going to go 5 times 9 pi. So that should be 45 pi. Like that. For the others, like the next one, they give you diameter. So half of the diameter, you do 12, cut it in half. What do you get? What was it was purple was my radius. So half of 12 is 6. And then from there, you guys can figure out the rest of it by plugging it in. So like area of the base, that would just be pi times the radius squared. So 6 times 6 is 36. So 36 pi. And then they want the height. So if you've got all this other information and you just need to find the height, you're going to go 36 pi, or sorry, not 36 pi. What am I doing? 108 pi, because that's volume, right? That's what it says. Equals, and then my area was 36 pi times height. So same thing, divide by 36 pi, cancels out. Divide by 36 pi. And then you get 108 divided by 36. 108 divided by 36 is 3. So then your missing height is 3. Let's do a different color. This is height. Then, okay, 3. Okay. We'll do one more and then I'll leave the rest up to you guys. So the next one just gives you the height and the volume. So from the height and the volume, you can find everything else. So what do they give us? 99 pi, that's volume, equals, they give us a height. So pi r squared times 11. 11 is the height. So I'm going to divide by 11 and pi, because that's going to cancel out my 11 and cancel out my pi. Divide by 11 and pi. So 11 goes into 99 9 times. So then I'm left with 9 equal, because pi cancels out, equals r squared. Remember, do the opposite, root r equals 3. What color is r? R is purple. So r is 3. And then you can find everything else out, right? Like, okay, so if r is 3, I double it to get the diameter. Doubled 3 is 6. Don't get mixed up and multiply 3 by itself, because that's an easy mistake to make. It's 3 plus 3, right? Because, like, you're cutting it in half. Area of the base, I'm just going to do pi times r squared. So r squared, that's 3 squared, is 9. So that's 9 pi. And that's everything. So you guys need to finish this. So finish table on your own. And I don't think there's going to be anything that is really any different than what we've just went over. All right, we can find missing information about the cylinder. So pretty much what we're doing is just practicing like missing information using an equation. So it's algebra. We're just using a shape instead of like a graph, if that makes sense, which is kind of what we've been doing. If you need help sessions at 11:35 every day. And also don't forget practice problems.